Boys and girls, it's time for our non-fiction reader that goes with our Little Red and the Very Hungry Lion story. If you remember in Little Red, when Little Red was trying to convince the Very Hungry Lion not to eat her and Aunt Rosie, she offered him something to eat instead. Do you remember what Little Red gave to the Very Hungry Lion instead? You're right. She gave him donuts. Do you remember how many donuts he ate? He ate 5. He ate 5 donuts. Well, today for our nonfiction reader, we're going to read about donuts and how they were made, and we're going to learn 10 tasty facts that you probably didn't know about donuts. Donut, you know. That's kind of a silly. Tasty fact number 1. Whether you like them glazed, sprinkled, or icing covered, there is one thing that is for sure. Donuts are one of the world's most popular treats. This fried pastry is a favorite for both breakfast and dessert. In fact, 10 billion donuts are made every year in the United States. There are 8,500 Dunkin' Donuts storefronts in America. Add on Krispy Kreme stores and local favorites, and that is quite a lot of donut stops. Do you have a favorite donut store in your area? Make a list of them, and then we can take a vote to see which is our class favorite. Where do you like to get your donuts? Do you like to go to Smith's? Do you like to go to Kent's? They have really yummy homemade donuts at Kent's. Tasty fact number 2. Although archaeologists, oh, that's a big word. Archaeologists are scientists who study fossils like dinosaurs and things like that. Although archaeologists are constantly finding what looks like fossilized donuts, there are no written records to prove that they were really around in the prehistoric Native American settlements. The first cookbook with a recipe on how to make donuts was written in 1803. That's more than 200 years ago. The donut recipe was included in the American Recipes section. But if you know anything about American history, then you know that it is most likely a tradition Americans adopted from a different culture. And that means people from another country. Remember all the different recipes we learned about when we talked about Christmas around the world? Another book from 1809, written about the history of New York, had a detailed account of a table full of fruits and sweets. On this table were oily cakes that the Dutch families introduced to the Americans. And I'll bet they call them oily cakes because you have to fry donuts in oil. Tasty fact number 3. Later on, in the mid-1800s, an American ship captain named Hansen Gregory claimed he invented the shape of the donut that has become so popular. He said he was just 16 years old when he thought the dough was too greasy, and he was unhappy that the center of the old-fashioned donuts wouldn't cook all the way through. So he cut out the middle using a round tin. Gregory then taught his mother his technique for circular donuts. Mother Gregory made more delicious updates to the donut by adding spices such as cinnamon and nutmeg, lemon rinds, and nuts to the middle where the dough had been removed. Tasty fact number 4. Donuts have been used to lift the spirits of soldiers during war times. In the midst of World War I, officers were worried because their spirits were extremely low among their soldiers. They decided, with the few supplies they had, donuts were the best option. This tradition continued during World War II and the Vietnam War. Groups of women volunteered to hand out donuts to the soldiers to remind them of home and help them to forget about the war, even if just for a few minutes. These women were referred to as donut dollies or donut girls. In celebration of the Donut Girls, National Donut Day was created starting in 1938. National Donut Day is still recognized to this day on the first Saturday in June. That will be the first week that we're out of school for the summer. We'll have to go get some donuts on that day. Tasty fact number 5. After World War I, soldiers came home craving donuts, and their sweet cravings sparked a trend. Adolf Levitt, a resident of New York City and a refugee from Russia, owned a bakery and saw a business opportunity. When viewers would leave the theaters in the evenings, they were hungry and wanted a sweet treat. Levitt's bakery was a great spot to stop. That was a tongue twister. But he couldn't keep up with the demand. That is, until he invented a machine that would drop the circles of dough into the hot oil. Moving ramps allowed the donuts to cool off before they were consumed. The entire process was quite spectacular to viewers and allowed businesses to see donuts as a quick and profitable route. By 1931, Levitt was selling his machines all over the country and making $25 million a year. Tasty fact number 6. If you've ever been to New Orleans, you know the city is known for its amazing pastries such as beignets, eclairs, and king cakes. During the hard times of the 1930s, known as the Great Depression, a chef from New Orleans named Joe LeBoux sold his delicious donut recipe and the name Krispy Kreme to a man from Kentucky. This man hired his nephew Vernon Rudolph to make donuts in his bakery. Not too much later, Vernon Rudolph moved to North Carolina, borrowed ingredients from a kind grocer, and put the donut recipe to good use. He and some friends started the first Krispy Kreme store. Their brilliant marketing tempted buyers with their "Hot Donuts Now" sign. Krispy Kreme still uses this strategy today, along with their glaze waterfall method, to coat the donuts that engineers invented in the 1960s. Have you ever had a Krispy Kreme donut? Maybe someday we'll get Krispy Kremes in Brigham City. Tasty fact number 7. The record for the world's largest donut goes to a group from Utica, New York. This gigantic pastry measured 16 feet across. That would be like 3 of your daddies stacked on top of each other. That's how big around it would be. And weighed 1.7 tons. Due to the extremely long list of supplies and labor needed, 2 different bakeries and a local radio station teamed up to make the record happen. 370 cups of sugar, 5,610 cups of flour, and 2,244 eggs are just some of the ingredients used. One would think that a glazed donut would do the trick, but these overachievers even filled the donuts with jelly. This record was set in 1993 and still stands today. Tasty fact number 8. In 1981, John Haidt set the world record for donut eating when he ate 29 donuts in just 6 minutes. 2 men tried to beat this record in 2007, but failed when the challenge turned out to be harder than they first thought. While we are talking about world records, let's discuss Boston, Massachusetts. Oh my goodness, we have heard that city and state so many times. Boston, just like our friend Boston, right? So many people that we've talked about were from Boston, Massachusetts. Dr. Seuss, for one. Boston has more donut shops per person than any other city in the world, with 250 donut storefronts. Boston sure is sweet. And the largest box of donuts? That record belongs to Krispy Kreme, with one box of glazed donuts weighing in at a whopping 297 pounds. Tasty fact number 9. Have you seen this donut tower trend lately? No more boring birthday cakes. Have you thought about having a donut cake or donut tower for your party? It may not be 49.5 inches tall like the world record holding donut tower, but it is still sure to be a hit. Use traditional donuts to look like a pyramid or smaller donut holes to give it more of a cone look. Either way will do. Did you know that before the tradition of trick-or-treating had really caught on, people would hang donuts from strings and see who could gobble them up the quickest? See, donuts aren't new guests to a party after all. Tasty fact number 10. Last but not least, would you care to hear some nutritional facts about donuts? The average glazed donut has about 240 calories in it. A chocolate glazed donut has about 5 teaspoons of sugar in it. Sugar is a carbohydrate that gives us energy. Have you ever wondered why you might crave a donut? Scientists believe that donuts are addictive because they contain a large amount of saccharin. Saccharin is like sugar, but 300 times sweeter. This ingredient is also found in sodas. A little bit of sugar each day is definitely not a bad thing, but too much sugar can cause cavities and harm your body. Nutritionists suggest keeping your sugar intake at or below 10% of your total energy intake for the day. Fruits, vegetables, and dairy contain their own natural carbohydrates that give you energy. A balanced diet will keep your body happy and healthy. Boys and girls, if you can get a piece of paper and a pencil or crayon, I would like you to draw 6 donuts. Could you draw 6 donuts on your paper? I'll put this right in here so you can see it. You can pause my video for just a minute while you go and get those supplies. Can you see my sign? It says, let me back this up a little bit. Delicious and delectable donuts. I'm trying to set my desk up at home because guess what? Starting today, the teachers aren't allowed to go to school anymore either. We have to do our work at home. And so I'm setting a little desk up at home that I can teach you with. I hope that you have a special place at your house that you can do your homework and your homeschool. A desk or maybe the kitchen table. Do you have your paper? What I'd like you to do is draw 6 donuts. Then on each donut, I would like you to write one thing that you learned about donuts from our nonfiction reader. If you need to pause the video and go back and look at some of the pages to get some ideas, you can. In fact, on the pages, I've highlighted things that I think were important to remember, like the donut dollies or donut girls. You can go on back. The first thing that I highlighted said donuts are one of the world's most popular treats. So back here on my donuts, on the first donut, I could write most popular treat. And then you can go through each page and pause it and write another fun fact on each of your donuts. Remember, we had 10 facts. You only need to write 6. Boys and girls, I hope you have a great day, and I think I'm going to go have a donut for breakfast. Come back soon and we'll do our vocabulary and grammar. Bye.